Yeah. What's the worst chore that you guys have to do?
I honestly don't know.
You don't know?
That's
Yeah.
good. Sounds like you don't mind helping out. That's awesome.
Very good. Very good.
This is nothing to do, so like, eh.
It's always something to do, Melvin. Trust me. It's always something to do. Well, hey, guys, it is a minute after 3 o'clock, and we have our esteemed honored guest here, Sergeant Madrigal. He's going to be our guest today. I'm going to say a little short brief, and then I'm going to let him take it away because he knows his life story better than any of us here. So he's a sergeant with the LA Police Department. He works for our Internal Affairs Division. Now, some people's blood just went, oh, got the heebie-jeebies. Internal Affairs is known as the police of police, and I'm going to let him talk about his upbringing and all that first, and then he's going to work into what the Internal Affairs is for Los Angeles Police Department and what exactly it is that they do. So let's start off, Sergeant Madrigal. Tell us where you're from, where'd you grow up, where'd you go to school, and then there's a few more after that. I don't want you to get too lost in the sauce.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me? Can everybody hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
All right. So as soon as Officer Lee mentioned Internal Affairs, I saw a bunch of the other officers suddenly start putting their cell phones away, and I'm like, oh. So, so my name is Hector Madrigal, and first of all, thank you for inviting me in this Zoom call with all of you. It's an honor. I have been with and you'll always hear this with every officer, they always say the first thing is, I've been with the department for so many years. So I'll start off like that. So I've been with the LAPD technically 20 years, but I've been in law enforcement for 25 years. I started with Los Angeles Police. I left Los Angeles Police and I went up to a town called Santa Maria, which is up in Santa Barbara County. And the reason I went up there is because I grew up there. That was my home. And it's a farming community. I actually grew up, my parents are from Mexico. And how many Latinos, Hispanics, pals are in Zoom tonight? A few. So if for those of you who don't know where the state of Michoacan is, it's in Mexico. My parents are from there. They are, I actually, during the summer and weekends, I grew up picking strawberries in the summer after school. And so as I was doing that, working in the hot sun, I said, this is not for me and I need to stay in school. So I continued school. I got an AA degree from a community college called Allen Hancock College. And then I transferred to Cal State Los Angeles. And that's where I got my bachelor's degree in criminal justice. And I wanted to continue. So then I got a master's degree at USC in leadership. And for whatever reason, I wanted to continue. And I went and got my doctoral degree in education from USC. So it was a lot of schooling and it was a lot of work, but I can tell you, and there's a lot of money, but I can tell you that it's worth it because it actually, the reason I continued school, it's for myself. I didn't do it so much for promoting or, I actually promised my mom, because her education was only 6th grade and my dad's education was 5th grade. And I promised them that I would stay in school and that's what I did. And so it was for them. So, with the police department, I worked for a different police department, Santa Maria, and I still have great friends there. In fact, the reason I went back, it's because I was a police explorer. So I know LAPD, we have police cadets, but I was a police explorer, and the officers whom I'm still friends to today, I still keep in touch with them. They're all retired. but I met them since I was 16, 15 years old, and they were my mentors, my big brothers and big sisters. So because of those police officers, it helped me gain a mission and a goal in what I wanted to do in law enforcement. So that's where I'm at, and I'm currently where I met Officer Lee was when he was a recruit, and he remembered me, and I didn't remember him. But apparently, I was a brand new instructor at the academy in 2007, and if anything, I think I learned more from him and from his class and from the other classes, because every single recruit that comes in, and I learn from. In fact, I teach part-time at a junior college, and I am always amazed of how the young men and women that come into school, how creative and enthusiastic they are about becoming or joining something in criminal justice, right? Whether it be a police officer, an attorney, someone to be a judge. And I'm always amazed and always learn from the students. So that's a little bit about myself. Is there any questions as far as, and maybe Officer Lee can guide me through as far as what I can bring a value to the program. And I see Alberto with his hand up.
We'll let Alberto go first, and then I'll say what I was going to say next.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mr. Alberto.
When you became a police officer, what were the steps that you had to do to be a police officer?
So
Good question, Alberto. Good question.
What I did is, first and foremost, I stayed out of trouble, right? I always made sure that I didn't do the bad things or do drugs and join the gangs. I picked my friends, and the friends I picked are the people that won, like the police officers that I met, and some close friends that knew were going to do the right thing. And what I did is, I really like history, and I focused on things and extracurricular activities in schools. Like, believe it or not, I really liked like soccer, and there was this, I was in band, so I played the trumpet for a bit. And, I did those activities to keep me busy, and it made school fun. And then after that, I got my graduate from high school and went to junior college, and then I started volunteering. So, being part of the cadet program, helping out with other things. I used to be a counselor when I was a teenager, 16, 18 years old, at a camp, and that helped me, become a police officer too. So volunteering actually helped me, whether it be at a cleaning up at the ocean or cleaning up the neighborhood, it always helps out. Ultimately, the degree, take the test, and Officer Lee and everybody at Pell can also help with those kind of processes. But the first thing I did when I was your age, Alberto, was stayed and volunteered and participating, got active in my school, with the clubs they had there.
Does that answer your question, Alberto?
Yeah.
What college do you
Yes.
teach at?
Little story with you guys about being positive and influent. So Sergeant Madrigal, one thing I remember most about him was that story he just told you about Santa Maria. Because prior to coming on the job, I was actually stationed at Vandenberg Air Force Base, which I'm sure he knows very well. And I had never heard of the town of Santa Maria until I drove through it, because when you're stationed up there, there's not many places to go besides Orchid, Santa Maria, or Lompoc.
Yeah.
And so it's just funny when he said he had came back to, because you had just returned to LAPD from Santa Maria when you started teaching at the academy. I remember that story very well. And so I was like, wow, wait, he just came from Santa Maria? He must have hated that drive, but I didn't know he was from there. which is funny. You learn something new all the time. So that's an awesome story. Man, you've said so much so far. Let's explain to the kids some of the assignments that you've done on LAPD and what were your most favorite assignments, and then we'll talk a little bit about your current assignment.
So I used to, when I looked much younger than I am today. So when I came in the police department, I was 21 years old, and I was actually selected to work undercover in the high schools. And they don't have that anymore, but I used to do that. I suppose it was one of my first assignments. And I went to Newton Division Patrol. Then I always wanted to be a motor officer. And I went to Central Traffic Division, where I was a traffic investigator. I did go to motor school, but during that time, I went back to Santa Maria. But when I went to Santa Maria, I was mostly in patrol. And then when I came back, that's when I came back with a huge appreciation of Los Angeles Police Department, because we are big and we have a lot of great people, so much diversity, so many opportunities. And when I came here, I was in West Los Angeles, and I was asked to come to the academy and teach Spanish. And from there, I was teaching other topics. I left and I went to Juvenile Division, where I investigated child abuse cases, child pornography cases. And then from there, I went to emergency operations, and then I got promoted to a sergeant, went to 77th. Then when I was a detective at Pacific for a bit, they went to Central. And then I went back as a sergeant to the academy. And from there, I'm here I came to internal affairs.
You're muted, Lee.
I just got a notification of that. This smart technology. I tried to speak and it said you're muted, then you said it, so it's kind of hilarious. Awesome. Can you tell the kids exactly what internal affairs is and what they do?
So, I like history, right? I was released, so I'm big on history, like I was telling Alberto. So back in 1950, we had a chief of police named William H. Parker. And during that time, William H. Parker was actually considered, and if you take some criminal justice classes, he is considered one of the reformers in the criminal justice or in law enforcement world in the community. During that time, LAPD was going through, before 1950, went through so many police chiefs. And William H. Parker created internal affairs. He saw that there was a lot of corruption, officers were not doing the right thing, and he saw there was a need to investigate and at least hold officers accountable. And one of the reasons he did that was he wanted to improve policing like the way you see today, and he wanted to maintain the legitimacy of the law enforcement institution. He wanted to show the people that we are a legitimate institution and that we have honest officers that have integrity and are going to always do the right thing. In fact, William H. Parker, he did a lot of great things, and one of the things he did was there was a chief after him, Davis. He actually took Sir Robert Peel's principles. Sir Robert Peel was back in the 1800s, the father of modern policing. He has these 9 principles of policing. He took that information, what William H. Parker did, and created what LAPD has today, our management principles. So what he did is he actually took those principles from Sir Robert Peel from the 1800s and just changed the names and terms and created our management principles. And there's a policy on that. Actually, if you go back in the 70s, you'll see it. But what he did is, what we do here at Internal Affairs is anytime a police officer does something misconduct, whether uses profanity when they're not supposed to, crimes. Unfortunately, officers have committed crimes. We investigate them like we would investigate anyone else. And we are what I like to call fact finders. And we just gather all the information and we present the information to, we either file it with the district attorney's office if it's a crime, and the district attorney will file, meaning we'll probably send the officer to court, or we'll send the information to the commanding officer, and the commanding officers, and ultimately will adjudicate the case. That's a word where they judge the officer, and ultimately it's the chief of police that makes the final determination. So we're detectives, essentially, but we're supervisors. But our focus is to investigate law enforcement officers and any employee of a police department. And our ultimate goal is to just to maintain the legitimacy of law enforcement, and for the people, the public, to trust us, and to make sure that, hey, we do the right thing.
That was a great explanation. So I'm gonna have you tell the kids a little history story since you love history. I love history myself. You brought up William Parker and his whole reform in the creation of IA. Tell the kids a little bit, just in the city of Los Angeles, what was going on in the late 40s to the 50s that led up to why he needed to create such units. Just the nightlife, the crime rates and everything that was going on. If you know it, if not, I'll give a brief little description to the kids.
I'll let you do that.
Well, Los
Make
Angeles.
it real brief, Lee.
I'm sorry, did you speak? My partner's been scared this whole time, I noticed. We normally can't shut
Make
him
it
up.
very brief, please.
You see that, Myrtha? He speaks.
I see it, I hear it, I deal with it. Jeez.
The most quiet. I am impressed. So anyway, guys, Los Angeles is really considered the Wild West. There's a movie, I can't remember the name of it right now, but it had, oh my God.
Bugs Bunny in it?
Chief Parker. Say that again?
Did it have Bugs Bunny in it?
Is it
I
Gangster
figured you only
Squad?
watch cartoons. Yeah.
No,
Lee, is it Gangster
What?
Squad?
it's Gangster Squad. Exactly.
That was thanks to Johnny.
Before I mention Gangster Squad, how many of you kids know who Bugs Bunny is actually? Raise your hand if you know.
Oh, wow. Impressive.
All right.
Impressive.
Okay. That's more than I expected, so that's great.
Very impressive.
Well, anyway, there's a movie called Gangster Squad, which some of you guys got to wait about 5 years till you can watch, but it really describes how wild Los Angeles was at that time. It was just a different time. We weren't in the age of technology. And so officers being paid off to do criminal acts and things like that were unfortunately very common. So it was a real need for the internal affairs to be created at that time, because you had gambling, you're fresh out of prohibition, so you still had all these speakeasies and places like that. And the city itself needed a lot of cleaning. And in the old days, a lot of police agencies were often paid off along with mayors by the underworld. So very important job, which leads to where we are today. Any questions, guys? I know the Pinedos always have something to ask that's interesting. Oh, there goes Yaritza.
She's hiding.
I see. I thought she was unmuted herself and asked a question there. What about Alberto?
I had a question, but I forgot.
What? Are you listening to that one guy, Preston, right now, instead of being attentive on our Zoom chat?
Sarge, I don't know if you could. Sarge, I don't know if you can see him, but we got some cadets on here. Actually, Officer Lopez and Piemonte are cadet officers. And then I think the Bautistas, you guys are in the cadet program right now, right? Right? Thumbs up? Yeah? Okay, right. So I think you said that you went through Sarge, you went through the cadet program, is that right? maybe you have some advice that you can give these guys, cadets, what they should look forward to transitioning from cadet program onto LAPD or law enforcement?
Yes. So at the time I was, it's the same thing, right? So I was an explorer, but it's the same thing as LAPD's cadets program. One thing that I would take away from that I still appreciate today is the officers that I work with, or that like I mentioned earlier, I saw them as a big brother, big sister, that I'm still friends with today. And most of them are from Santa Maria and retired. And I've always looked up to them, and I've always asked a lot of questions. So because of their tenure, their experience, don't be afraid to ask them for help. So if there's anything I would recommend and tell the cadets is, don't be afraid to ask your advisors for help, because they're going to help you. And also don't ever give up, because when I was applying for a police officer position, I'll tell you that I was applying for CHP, LASO, all these departments, and I didn't, I just wanted to be a cop. And I wasn't passing the test, and I was getting a little frustrated and discouraged. But the people that helped me out were, in fact, in Santa Maria, there was a former LAPD officer that was there. And, I said, oh, LAPD is so big, I don't think they'll ever take me. He actually helped me out. He taught me how to interview in the interview oral board. He told me what to prepare for. And he was a huge help. In fact, when I moved to Los Angeles, I had no place to live. And it was his friend, who was a police officer 3 at the time, who allowed me to stay at his house, because I had no money, right? So usually, and all the officers on Zoom know that you should get a notice about 2 week notice to start the academy. And if it wasn't for the officers in that family, I would probably be living in the car until a final place. So if anything, ask for help. Ask the officers for help, your advisors for help from the PELS program, and just don't give up on your goal, and make sure you have a goal, because that's very, very important to have.
Sarge, that's really strong, really strong. Great words of advice. We try to teach our kids the same thing, stay persistent, stay motivated, take action upon what you want to do, and you can accomplish just about anything. Funny story, when I first met Officer Piemonte, she looked at me, she said, "You're so tall." I said, "You know what, Piemonte, never give up. One day you might grow too." So we try to share that story with our kids as well, our kids and our officers.
Still hasn't given up yet.
One day, Piemonte, you may grow one day. So we also have, Sarge, we also have some soccer kids on here. I don't know if you can scroll over. You can see Vincent. You see Vincent Ramos. You see Maddie, and you see Justin. Those are our soccer players. I heard in your background that you played a little bit of soccer as well. Can you give them some word? Oh, Alberto too. I forgot about Alberto. I'm sorry, buddy. Can you give our soccer playing kids some words of advice, some words of wisdom?
So make sure you stretch before anything. And I was playing soccer in high school, and I'll be honest, and I'm gonna lay myself out here. So I was playing soccer for a bit, and I was, like I said, I was part of the band, but there was this dance group that I wanted to get into, and it was Mexican folklorico dancing. So if any of you guys,
we have to see a little bit, Sarge. We don't know what that is. You have to demonstrate.
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to join those groups, because I still have friends in those groups. And see, Alberto knows what I'm talking about. They were fun, but for my sports people, what I loved about it in any activity is the leadership that you learn from that. Don't be afraid to volunteer to be the team captain. It's okay to make mistakes. If you make a mistake, you learn from them and you keep going. So volunteer have a leadership position in those team sports, because you'll have something to say when you go for those jobs, and you'll have that experience.
Very nice. Again, very strong words of encouragement for our kids. I think Alberto was going to demonstrate that dance for us, right? You said you knew it, Alberto. Let's see what it looks like.
I'm shy.
Come on, Alberto. You're never shy.
He's shy, but he's already getting up.
Yeah. Stretching, putting his headband on.
Come on, Alberto. You could do it, hon. Come on, show us your moves. No? Aw, don't be shy. We're
It's
all
actually-
here.
So what is that type of dance, Sarge? I'm not familiar with it.
So folklorico dancing, I think Piemonte knows what it is. So it's Mexican folkloric dancing, and there's different dances for different regions of the states of Mexico. So if you've ever had the like the mariachi. So the mariachi comes from the state of Jalisco, right? And there's Jalisciense, which is the dance, and they usually wear the whole costume. And there's regions up in northern Mexico, norteño type, and there's also indigenous type of dancing, right? There's the I'm not sure what the Mayan dancing, not Mayan dancing, but more of a they have the native or Indian dancing in Mexico. I'm not sure what it's. I never did that piece.
Yeah.
I never knew how to. I don't know if you guys know that.
The ones with the big dresses, and they do this, and then.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice. I see Piemonte, Officer Piemonte is holding it up. It looks like, was that your quinceañera, Piemonte? Is that what you're showing? What was that? What, no? Okay. Hey, Sarge, what is the one where they put not the seashells, but the wooden shells on their feet, you know what I'm talking about, Alcaraz?
Isn't that like the Aztec dancers?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Perla does that. If you know her, Perla does that. Her whole family does it for, I think, her mother, her grandma, everyone in her family does it.
You guys can start a group.
It's called LPD dance.
Pity dance? That's
So
all
do
right.
they use a different get up for that dancing from the Florico? Is it totally different?
Then the Aztec dancing, yes.
Ah, what's that one look like, Piemonte?
I know she's looking it up. There's a
Let's see who
there's a
can
lot of
beat her.
feathers involved, and then there's I think it's like a short or a skirt type of attire. I'm not sure. That's
Feathers. They
So,
got the
so,
whole
so,
big bird thing like Franklin going on, huh?
so while she's looking that up, I have a question. How many of the kids listening today ever wanted to be a detective? Ever look on, kinda? Monroy? Let me hear you.
Tell us,
kinda.
Eros.
Kind of.
There you go.
Very, very nice.
Oh, wow.
they show a lot
Wow,
of skin,
that's
and they
awesome.
have really strong legs.
Very nice.
Very strong legs. They walk and dance and like stomp their feet for miles or hours.
Sounds like a carnival.
Yeah, pretty
Yes.
much. Yes.
And they're usually at our at the end of our protests or marches here in Hollywood. There's usually a group
Wow.
that they bring their drums and they dance. They do like a little ritual cleansing type stuff. They have like a smoke something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I enjoyed watching them. Really cool.
Yeah.
So anyway, back to being
So
a
who else?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So
I was gonna say, who else besides Harold's had interest in being a detective? I can't see everyone's face, so we don't know. What about Mr. Lopez, Karen Melchor, Stephanie Leva? You know, y'all give us a thumbs up on the chats or something because we can't see you guys.
So Monroy, why did you want to become a detective? Oh. Yeah, this is Monroy,
Maddie,
you're very talkative. Go ahead, Jake. What about you? Why did you want to become a detective, Jake?
So I can find out mysteries or some sort.
Very good. Very nice.
Party boy, huh?
Yeah.
And Yuritsa, why did you want to become a detective, Yuritsa? We can't hear you. You got to turn the volume up. We can't hear you.
So I just don't want to be a detective. I want to be a doctor and a detective. And I want to be a detective because I want to solve mysteries because I love like solving puzzles.
Nice.
So
The old doctor detective combo.
So there was a show in the 80s called Quincy MD. And that's kind of what he was because he's a coroner. So a doctor and a detective would be a coroner for the most part. Where you work for the county coroner's office, if you're the actual coroner, you get to investigate all the deaths because you got to be a medical doctor. So you should really look into that because that's exactly what a coroner does to a certain extent. Anyone else could add to that knows a little more. Otherwise, we're going to move over to Maddie D, who would like to be a detective as well. Maddie D, you're on.
I would like to be a detective because it just seems fun, solving mysteries, helping people, and yeah.
Can I see your face, Maddie? I haven't seen you before. I just want to see what you look like, hon. Maddie?
That's a cool name.
It is because, what's it called? I'm Justin's sister, but my computer sometimes doesn't work, so the camera icon just disappears sometimes.
Okay.
Wait, are you the Justin that dances? You guys did the music together? Are you that, Maddie?
No.
They did the fighting scene, remember? The fighting scene?
Okay. Have you guys been have you guys been practicing that still? Because that was awesome choreography that you two did. I remember that.
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, so Sarge, can you share with us an interesting story about becoming a detective, being a detective, one of the interesting cases that you possibly worked on while you were a detective?
So, yeah, so this is a long story, but I'm going to keep it very short. So the best and most interesting case I've handled as a detective was when I was assigned to the abused child unit. And, you know, when I hear like Maddie and, you know, looking into, you know, solving puzzles and Yuritsa with, you know, trying to find out, you know, clues and also part of the being a forensic examiner and all that. Well, I was actually, it's a sad story, but there was these, you ever heard of homicide, right? It was a death that I was investigating. And this death was it happened back in years ago, but the person that passed away was from 1932. And what it led me to is investigate. It took me to Big Bear up by San Bernardino County. And I actually work with the Canadian police, the Mounties. And it took me back, and it turns out this particular person that passed away was dead for over 80 years, and it was found, and the person was found, and so I used forensic science to find families, and we talk about legitimacy and trust. People were helping from the public and gave me information that this person was from Scotland and came through Detroit, through back east in Detroit, and ended up in Los Angeles in the 1930s. And I found their family. So that was an interesting story. It was in the news. They called it you can actually Google it. It was call it the baby mummy case. It was an actual, they call it a cold case, right? Where it's happened a long time ago. I think that was the most interesting cases that I handled. I don't go much into detail because it's kind of gory, but I had to use a lot of science. I had to talk to a lot of doctors, a lot of historians. So although I was the detective, I had to ask for the help of all these professionals, right, to help me solve this case. People that are called genealogists. A genealogist is a person that studies your history, your ancestry, to identify who this person was. So it was a very interesting case. That's one of the most significant or interesting case I've handled.
Really good, really cool. Just to be able to trace somebody based on, I don't know, DNA or whatever it is that you use is pretty amazing. And, to track somebody down from many years ago as well. Wow. Go ahead, Yuritsa.
Go ahead.
I have a question about the investigation. When you guys like
investigate.
Oh yeah, when you guys investigate, do you guys like tape a person's body to the ground? Do you tape a body? Do you like trace a body with tape on the ground?
Well, there are some police departments that do that and some that don't. They're called reference points. Sometimes they call them reference points, but usually we don't. You see that in the movies, but it's also important to know the position of the person that passed away, to know how they lay down, because if it was a fall, we want to know how they fell, how they landed. I could tell you that when I was working investigating traffic accidents, we would trace the tires, we would mark the tires, and that's because we actually use measurements, right? So if there's when you burn, skid marks, they're called skid marks, or when your tire marks are left, we measure the length of that tire mark, and it will give us the probability of how fast the car was going, just based on the length of the tire mark. It'll it'll help us find the speed that person was driving. So the position of the person, if the person was shot, how they laid or how they fell, will kind of gives us an indication of a reference point of where do we start and where where were they standing, how they fell. So you'll see that a lot on the media, on the news or in the TV shows, but there's a lot of science behind it. So.
Sarge, you talked about you being, I'm sorry, Yuritsa, did he answer your question? Yeah, great. So Sarge, you talked about working the traffic unit. Most of our kids aren't driving yet, but they're heading that direction. Soon they will be drivers. They'll be on the road, and that's kind of a scary thing for most of us right now. Can you tell them some of the things that they should look out for, some of the things that are important, and maybe some of the things that you've seen working traffic that would cause them to use more precautions while they're behind the wheel?
Yeah, so it's so important to really wear your seatbelt. And if you're in the car, if someone in the car that's with you is not wearing the seatbelt, tell them to wear their seatbelt. If your mom or dad forget, it does save lives. It really does. It's, when I was working traffic, there's been cars that have been just terrible accidents, and the seatbelts actually did save the people's lives. In fact, I have a good friend, police officer, that got involved in a car accident, and it was a DUI driver, which is the person that was drunk and driving, and he was a police officer, and this drunk driver hit him and pushed him all the way against this wall. And in fact, his car, the police car, is used as, you'll see it in some police departments, it's a car that's wrapped around, like it was wrapped around the tree. And actually, now that happened in Santa Maria. And that picture is used to have people not to drink and drive, right? To tell people not to drink and drive. But what saved him was that seatbelt. And I wasn't working that night, but he was there. I was there in that department when that happened. So seatbelts save lives. And, if you get in a car with people that are drinking or, smoking marijuana, don't get in the car, first of all. Get somebody else to get you a ride. But anything to do with drugs, alcohol, it does impair your driving. It can kill you, so it's not worth it. Always ask somebody to give you, and basically don't do any of that stuff, first of all.
Yeah, very, very, very good words of advice. Very good words of advice. Like you said, seatbelts help save lives, and you've seen people being projectile objects going through windshields or out the back of the back window. I'm sure if you haven't seen it, you've heard of it, and going out of a car that way isn't fun or not going to help you live long. So if you don't mind, we haven't done a challenge in a while. We normally challenge our kids to certain activities. Since you are our guest today, we'd like for you to be the judge. Are you okay with that, Sarge?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Who wants to participate in the challenge today? Show of hands or thumbs up. Who wants to participate? Sarge, you don't know it. I see Israel Lopez. You don't know it, Sarge, but Yaritza is a 3-time champion of our challenges. And if she participates today, she has a chance to go for 4. Anyone else wants to join or participate in the challenge today? Officer Piemonte wants to. I like that. Officer Piemonte, Yaritza, Israel Lopez, Bautista brothers. Yes, no? Yes, all right. I love that. I love that. Vincent is on. Alberto is in. Great. So our challenge today is going to be, we're going to do a dancing challenge in honor of our guest, but you guys are kind of shy, so we'll stay away from that. Today's challenge is going to be a cartwheel. Who can do the best cartwheel? You guys have to find some space in your living room. Don't break no furniture. Make sure you don't hit anybody when you complete your cartwheel. But the best cartwheel wins a medal. I don't have the medal in front of me. It's in the other office. But the best cartwheel today, judged by our guest speaker, is going to win a medal. Got it?
Uh-oh. I think I'm going to join that challenge.
Yeah, that would be a bad looking cartwheel, I have a feeling. IOD.
I'm doing that challenge. I'm going to have to get our executive director to hold the camera for me.
I can do a cartwheel.
4 more kids is join. I normally don't join them. We got to get 4 more kids.
All right, 4 more kids.
Okay, Miguel's in. Who do we have? Write your name on the chat so we know that you're in. We got to make it worthwhile. Make this entertaining for Sarge since he took his busy day to accommodate us.
I think the Bautistas, one of them said they're in.
Right?
You can see who's in from there? Great.
If they write it, type it if you want to be in. I'm sending a message right now.
All right, first one. Who's going to be first one up? Oh, everybody's shy. Look at them. Nobody wants to do it. Nobody wants a medal today, huh? Okay. So
I want to do it, but I can't do cartwheel.
That's all right. You might win. Nobody else is standing up. Go ahead.
Now this have written Maddie and her brother. So Maddie's brother is who again?
Justin.
Okay, so we got Justin and Maddie, Miguel and Yaritza. Who else? Arrows, you gonna join this party?
Piemonte, isn't Piemonte gonna do it?
Yes, she should
She's
do
got to. Piemonte and Lee are both going to do it. Hey, Sarge, while we're waiting for the kids to get ready for this, I saw Piemonte park in the lot today, in the parking lot, and she parked like over the line. She took up 2 parking spots. Is that something that's like a lack of integrity? Can we report her for that?
I think making up a story about that is definitely a lack of integrity. And I can't do to save my life, so I'm going to stay out of that one.
Is there a section on slander?
All right, who's up first? Let's go, guys.
All right, come on, Yaritza goes first. So Miguel, hold it for her, then you go. Then
Yaritza's
we'll
up
do
first.
Maddie and Justin. We saved the best for last. Moi. Let me start stretching.
Yeah, you don't want to pull anything.
All right. I don't know if you guys can see it, but Yaritza Miguel is Yaritza's about to go. So slide over if you can't see her.
Oh my gosh.
Please don't break the TV, please.
Oh, I know.
It looks expensive.
It does. It does.
Just blame Officer Lear.
Whoa!
Good job.
That was a one-handed cartwheel, I think.
Okay.
It went backwards.
Miguel?
It was, sir.
That's one-handed. That's gonna be hard to beat, guys.
Oh man.
That's gonna be hard to beat.
Woo! Work that out.
Remember, Sarge, you're judging these, Sarge. You're the judge.
I can do it.
Oh, Vincent.
You need to beat that one
Okay,
hand.
wait.
All right.
Land on the splits or something.
Wait a second.
No.
Wait a second, Vincent. I think Miguel is gonna go first. Then you can go, Vincent. Hold on. Go ahead, Miguel. Oh, okay. Okay. Not bad. Not bad. And backwards. All right. Not bad, Miguel. All right, Vincent, you're up, buddy.
Okay, wait.
Vincent, make sure you put your mouth guard in. I don't want you to break a tooth or anything.
Yeah, I'm moving everything right here.
Okay.
Whoa!
Wow.
Hey.
Look at that. All right, Justin. Oh, round up.
One more. Whoa! All right, Vincent. Very good. Very good. Justin, you're up. Justin and your sister, you guys are up.
Okay.
Wait a second. Hold on. I want to make sure Sarge is ready. You ready, Sarge? You taking notes on these kids, right?
Man, these guys got talented camera work there.
I know.
They got their angles going.
Oh,
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 three in a
Triple.
row.
That's
Oh, my goodness.
three.
whoa. Sarge, you got your work cut out for you today.
Oh, okay. That's Maddie.
That Maddie?
That was Justin and Maddie. Yes, sir.
Nice. Anyone else?
I think you're up.
Okay, well, here, come hold the camera for me.
I will.
I got you. Oh, you got him? What? Hold on a second. Let me call the paramedics just in case.
If it is fine for you.
If I want to witness
Yeah, Sarge, turn your camera off, Sarge. Turn it off.
it looks like a slippery floor.
Yeah, this is gonna be all bad.
Oh,
Whoa!
there you go.
Whoa! Oh!
Man, that's awesome.
I can do one with one hand too.
Who said that they could do one with one hand? Who was that? Very good, Officer Lee. Very good. Who is the one that said that he could do it with one hand? All right, I don't know who you are.
Vincent.
Vincent? Okay.
Oh no, it's Justin.
I can do it with one hand.
Go ahead, Justin. We're watching.
All right. I can do it with one hand too.
Who said that? Oh,
Whoa.
Good job.
Whoa. Okay, Vincent. Let's see you do it with no hands, Vincent. Raising the bar. Raise the bar, Vincent. No
No
hands.
hands.
Let's do a roll. Fall back. Do your forward and backward drills.
What?
Do your backward drill and
Whoa, okay.
You did a stomp on the floor. Why?
oh.
So,
is
it's
that
on
everybody?
you, Sarge.
So I really like that everybody's effort, especially Officer Lee. I think Officer Lee, your your size, your stature was unfortunately.
Sarge, we don't call people fat on this channel, Sarge. Please,
unfortunately,
we don't call people fat.
an obstacle. But thank you. Yuritsa and Miguel, you guys did really good. I really like the way you didn't actually hit the TV because it looks like an expensive TV. And Justin, you guys did very well too. But the one I'm very impressed with was Vincent. The extension and the muscle was outstanding. I mean, that is very difficult. So I would have to say Mr. Ramos, Vincent Ramos would be the winner for today.
Vincent, yay!
Vincent, we have your medal for you here in the office whenever you come down again, okay?
Another one?
Another one?
Oh, he's another one. Oh my.
Tone it down, Vincent. Tone it down. You don't have to brag so much. Tone it down.
Okay. Okay.
So Sarge, we can't thank you enough for coming on here, for judging, for judging our competition, for teaching or telling our kids all the important things that you've learned over your years in LAPD, being a detective, being a cadet, being the soccer player. We can't thank you enough. So from the whole organization, the whole program, we want to profoundly thank you for doing that. But before we let you go, we have to ask you for some words of advice, some words of wisdom. We call it our wow moment. Something that the kids could take away from something that you learned growing up that could help them in their journey and their path going forward.
Wait, before you do that, did you come up with that WOW acronym all on your own? Good job.
Yeah. Bullying. What about bullying, Sarge? Is there something about bullying in
It was a compliment. Oh my God, the generation today.
So, I think that before I leave, the one thing I would leave with everybody that you can actually leverage from the police department is when I mentioned earlier about having a goal. I would really like for all of you to look at the mission of the police department. Look at the mission of the police department. Look at the words, and I would like for you to create your own personal mission or a family mission of what you want and what you would want to be later in the future. For example, part of the mission of the Los Angeles Police Department is to enhance public safety and reduce the fear and incidents of crime. I remember going to a house and I saw the family mission, and it was a beautiful, well-written, and it said, my mission or our mission is to love our family, to do well, and what have you. So if you were to sit down and write your own personal mission and even sit down with your mom and dad, you can have that, put it up, and it's something in the wall and something you can see every day, and you can follow it and keep that true compass to help you do the right thing and to honor your family. So that's what I would leave behind.
Sarge,
Wow, that is deep.
Sarge, that's really deep. Like Officer Lee said, very deep, very profound. You know, we always tell our kids when we do, myself and Officer Lee do our mentoring sessions, we always tell our kids, if you got any goals, if you got anything that you want to achieve, you got to write it down, because once you see it, once you're able to visualize it, then you're able to achieve it. So, man, very, very strong, very powerful word of wisdom that you're imparting on our kids, and we're hoping it's going to resonate with them. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Justin, you have a question before we go?
Yeah. I was wondering, well, it's probably not gonna be pretty soon, but I was thinking, when are the practice of soccer gonna happen, not virtually?
We're hoping soon, Justin. We're hoping soon. You know, the department doesn't allow us to do anything in person right now. So once the mayor says it's going to be okay, then the department will say it's okay, and then we'll put something together. But we're getting some good words right now from the people involved that it's coming around the corner. It should be coming up soon. So we're hoping to have something this year, but if not, it won't be till the beginning of next year, January.
Okay, thank you.
Stay tuned, buddy. Stay tuned.
Well, thank you once again, Sergeant Madrigal. We really appreciate your time and all the words of wisdom that you bestowed upon our kids. Until next time, same bay and channel next week, kids. We'll see you guys, all right?
Bye.
Bye. Bye, Officer Piamontes. We'll try again. Maybe, I don't know when.
Bye, everybody.
Piamontes. Bye, guys. They call their Piamontes.